Welcome to Inspiration Contagion, where we spread inspiration one story at a time. I am your host, Holly Jean Jackson. Each interview spotlights transformational business leaders, their stories, challenges, and advice for how you too can lead yourself and others through inspiration. Learn how you too can achieve peak performance, build more revenue, and lead the legacy you were meant to lead. All right, welcome back to Inspiration Contagion. This week we have episode 83. My guest this week is Kevin Bailey. He is the CEO and founder of Workout Warrior LLC. Kevin has been featured on the Better Morning Show in Atlanta, as well as Montel Williams Show. Trained as a medical exercise specialist, he has helped thousands of businesswomen and professionals identify the source of their pain and give them easy-to-use strategies to get out of pain, move more freely, and feel amazing. Today, he's on a mission to help 1 million women say goodbye to pain, feel strong and fabulous, and love their life again. With that, welcome, Kevin.
Hey, well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here with you, Holly.
Amazing. I don't know about you listeners, but I love to feel good. So I am really excited to have the feel good expert here today. So we're going to kick it right off, Kevin. I want to hear what makes you such an inspirational leader, or what's your secret sauce?
So I feel like my secret sauce and what makes me an inspirational leader is being able to reach individuals where they are. And so I really want to get to the point of where they're starting from. So no matter where you're starting from, if you're a beginner, if you need to go slow, if you're just barely crawling along, I want to meet you right there, right where you are, and help you to get to wherever you need to go. Because again, I want to treat people like I would want to be treated. And so there are some things that I start off slow in. I want somebody to reach down and say, Kevin, we'll go as fast as you need to go. We'll go as slow as you need to go. But we just want to make sure that you go and just help me along. And as we pick up momentum, we can. But just to help reach down there instead of, making it a strain or a struggle, I just want to reach that person and help them to be the best they can be from where they are.
Absolutely. And that's a really powerful secret sauce. And I can see why that'd be inspiring, because even as business owners, a lot of people I work with as clients forget that even in their marketing is obviously a lot of expressing the pains and solving the pains of your clients. And if you don't go back to where you used to be and meet your clients where they are, it's completely lost in translation. But especially when you're working with folks who are feeling physical pain or emotional pain, you want to help them step into that, baby steps for that thing. Otherwise, it's overwhelming and it feels insurmountable. So it's about that 1% growth each year and each day. So Kevin, with that, I want to ask you, how would you define inspiration, or what does inspiration mean to you?
So inspiration means to me, the word inspire is to encourage somebody to a greater creativity, enthusiasm, or effort. And so, or to spark or to breathe life into somebody. So those two, I take those and they really mean a lot to me, because I want to encourage, I love encouraging people right where they are to a greater effort, that you can do it, to help them to believe in themselves, to help them, even if you don't feel like you believe that you can, I want to be that first one to say you can do it. And sometimes that's all we need, is somebody just to tap us on the shoulder and let us know that we can do this. I'm with you. You got this. Until they are able to catch wind and start to awaken that which is on the inside of them to reach the goal they want to reach, and they can start flying on their own. But I would like to inspire that, because again, we got enough in society that tells us what we can't do, how we're not good enough, what we can't accomplish, what we can't conquer. So I want to be that inspiration to help people to say, you can do it. You can conquer it. If not you, why not you? Why somebody else? If they can do it, if one person can do it, you can do it as well. So I just want to encourage and inspire them. So that's what that means to me, to inspire somebody. And to, in my darkest days, all I needed was somebody to breathe life into me. And that's all I want to do. Somebody just to breathe a life of saying something encouraging, something motivational, something just to say, I'm with you, just to let me get my feet underneath me so that I could start stepping on my own. And that's why I want to be that breath into somebody, to inspire, to awaken that powerful thing that's on the inside of each and every one of us.
I love it, Kevin. I love it. Yeah, sometimes we need to lean on others. We need that community element, that partner to walk side by side to help us grow in the areas where we have our blind spots, where we feel weak, where we suffer, where we have that pain. And it's a great reminder, like Kevin was sharing, it is equally important at times when we can't see the light and we feel so much pain, so much struggle, so much suffering, that we have people to lean on that we can borrow belief from. So if you're listening today, I encourage you to be that light for someone else. And if you need that light, reach out for that support because it's super, super important. And it happens to all of us. I've had moments where I've needed to borrow belief and I needed to hear from somebody that I did have it. And that's why I love that phrase, you've got this. Kevin, amazing. I hope you guys feel his energy because I feel it. I'm like, yes, we've got this. So, Kevin, I want to talk about peak performance. And this is kind of your area of expertise. This is your jam. So I'm excited to hear your responses. But how do you define peak performance and how did you arrive at your definition?
So, peak performance to me is being able to get the most out of what you already have and then even go a step beyond. So, it starts with peak performance, that belief performance. So, being able to believe that you can accomplish the goals that you set before you. And as you start to arise and conquer those goals, then you're at your peak. And now it's a new, ceiling that needs to be, elevated or created. And so then you go towards that. So getting the most out of yourself, whether it be physically, whether it be mentally, even in your spiritual life, and all the facets of your life, that peak performance, being able to function, perform at that high level that's high for you. So again, we define that for ourselves. And then, sometimes we need help in defining that, but that individual that helps us, it's based on where we are. And so once we can do that and we reach that level, that person can say, hey, and that's what I like to do for people. We're here. We've gone that mile. We've conquered this pain in your hip. Now, you said your knee is bothering you. What can we do with that? And so we get past that. Now we got the knee and the hip going. Hey, you said you wanted to get back to walking a mile or whatever the case may be. Let's see if we can get there. So that peak continues to grow as that person begins to grow. The confidence begins to grow. The person starts believing, and then they start in their own minds finding that own peak for themselves. And now they're telling you, hey, I want to do this 5K now. With the mile was cool, but let's do the 5K. Hey, I want to do that half marathon. The 5K was cool, but let's go to that extra level. So that peak performance is defined within that individual, the best to their ability, pushing themselves to their capabilities, their capacity, and expanding and growing beyond that.
So a couple really key points that I want to make sure that I highlight from Kevin's response. I like how he started with that you have to start with what you believe is possible. And this is what we mean when we say defining success and peak performance in your own terms. It's not about comparing, which unfortunately with social media, this is why a lot of people suffer and struggle because they do compare and despair. And you wonder why we have such high margins of depression and so much pain in the world. That's why. So stop comparing yourself and figure out what you believe you're capable of today. I also like that he did not say it's finite. It is constantly changing. So your peak performance today is not the same as tomorrow. It's not the same as a month, a year, 10 years from now. And stop thinking that just because you're aging, you're going to do less. Right. This is why your mindset is so important. And it's funny when people talk about how they're getting old, I'm like, stop saying that, stop saying that. Because the more you believe that, the more that becomes true. And I don't want to just get super woo-woo, but affirmation work doesn't work unless you believe where you start in the affirmation work. So that's just one example. So I like how we start with what we believe is available and we're capable of today. And then how do we have incrementally bigger improvements? And then as he was sharing that example, you can see how it exponentially takes off as you build momentum from the right foundation. Right. So amazing stuff, Kevin. Really great examples too. Now, we know this isn't perfect though. So Kevin, tell us some of the challenges or obstacles that you have personally faced along your journey to peak performance. And you can also share some client examples if that's helpful.
Oh, wow. Oh, I can just stay with myself, which is good. So there are many because this is an ever evolving thing. You get to one level and then there's some challenges, some roadblocks, some things to overcome within yourself to go beyond that. I remember my first one was losing weight myself. So, I've all my life I've been, athlete. I played football in college, and I've always been able to eat whatever I wanted to eat. It was not a big deal until I stopped playing football, and I, didn't really like working out. I just only ran because it was part of being on a team and worked out and all that stuff. But it wasn't a love. So hated running. I just ran because it was necessary. You can't not run and play football. I mean, if you could, I would have done it, but they didn't. They didn't allow for that. So anyway, um, I remember I loved to eat, and I stopped working out, graduated from college, and but I didn't stop eating, and I would eat and eat and eat and eat and eat, and I mean, like in 3 months, only 3 months, I gained like 30 pounds, and so I remember going home from college, and I have a brother that's 10 months older than I am, and so he I had on a T-shirt, and he was like, man, and he took his little finger and he touched my stomach and he said, "Pooh," like the Pillsbury Doughboy. I don't know if you all remember that, the commercials, and he pushed, and because pooh, and pushing my stomach, like my stomach just sinks in and it just engulfs his finger. And he said, and I was like, what? Because in my mind, even though I gained that weight, I was still this lean, mean fighting machine dude. So in my mind, well, what you talking about? He was like, no, look, your big belly. That's what I'm talking about. And I was like, what? Not me. He's like, man, you look like, and I was in my early 20s. He's like, you look like somebody's dad, a bad dad bod or something. And so it really hurt my feelings. And so I looked in the mirror, and then I just took an assessment of myself. And I was like, okay, we need to take care of this. We need to do this. So lost weight, those 30 pounds, got back in shape. But I didn't change my mindset. I was still thinking the same way. I still felt like I eat whatever I wanted to eat because I'm down, back down. And I'll just do it again. That's all. So I kept eating things that weren't healthy for me. I gained weight, lose it, gain weight, lose it, gain weight, lose it. And we're talking about over years. And I'm in the field. So, it's like, there's an integrity thing, but there's a learning curve because I had wrong relationships. And so at some point, well, later on down the line, some years later, my mother died from heart disease, and she was only 56 years old. And that really, that devastated me. That just shook me to my core because I come from a single parent home. It was just my brother and I, and my mother and my grandmother. And so the person that I was very close to was no longer with us. And that's when I really had to really evaluate where I was in my life. And I went through some depression and things of that nature, and was really down on myself because I was like, I know I need to change this. Even though, this is in my family history, it does not have to be my story. So I said, okay, the buck stops here. I need to change this about myself. We will no longer accept this way of living. We're going to change our eating habits. We're going to make this a lifestyle change because I'm tired of being up and down, in and out, going on this roller coaster. And so, to make a long story short, we did that. And so I went ahead and focused on my eating habits and eating healthier. And so after going through it, and that was a struggle because, again, when I got up to the Zaxby's line or to, wherever you name it, Taco Bell, whatever, and it was like, okay, I'm going to order a salad. I'm going to order a salad. Can I take your order? Give me a number one, extra fries, hold the coleslaw, like hold the healthy stuff, and give me a CMS to drink or whatever the case may be, and then I'll get it, and then I would eat it, and I would get mad at myself, and I was like, why you do it? You did it again. Come on, Kevin, you got to do this. So that struggle of really honing in to change, my eating habits. It was like we're going back and forth, but I had to change the way I thought about food and realizing that this is for fuel. This is to help me to have a healthy body. This is a habit that's going to help me to live a long time. You have a 3-year-old son right now, and you want to see him do everything you can to see him grow up, to get married, to graduate from high school. You want to be able to talk with him, give him advice, to be there for him. Your mother's not here for you now, and God bless her, she did everything she could for you in your life, but you got an opportunity to do something, to be there for him, to be there for your wife, to be there for the people that you've been placed into their lives, to encourage them to be the best they can be, to be their greatest, their best self. So if you don't change this, you'll continue to be the same. So once we got into that habit of, fight it, keep going through, we make mistakes, but we didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We got the mojo going. We got the momentum going. It's just like riding, a merry-go-round, back in the day. I don't know if you all are familiar with merry-go-rounds, but, you used to get on it and you would push it and everybody be pushing. They have one foot on the ground, one foot on the ground, one foot on the ground. And it took a lot of work to get it going. Once you put your foot up, you spin it. All the work was done to get it going. But once you got it going, all you had to do every now and then when it slow down, put your little foot down, and then you keep it going. Same thing with this. You got to get that momentum going first. And when that momentum is created, and now it takes less work. So I would remind myself of that. Okay, Kevin, if you do this right now, your relationship with this right now would send you back to getting the merry-go-round started again. It'd send you back to square one. We don't have to start from square one. Let's just keep it going. And then at the appropriate time, we can, maybe visit this chocolate Godiva cheesecake, or we can visit these other things that you love so much. But just getting over that hurdle. And once I got over that hurdle, it was easy to say no to it. And then I took that and started building upon that momentum in different phases. And again, you keep pushing it, you go from 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, and you just keep the same process. You have your different challenges, but again, you just keep going. You keep going. And sometimes you have to stand alone. But even in that, keep believing and keep moving forward until you reach that goal.
Absolutely. Well, I love a few things about this, but in particular that, we find that people who are experts in a specific field, they teach that and they coach that because they also struggle with it themselves. And they're just a few steps ahead of the people that are experiencing it. And why that makes them really well suited to coaching, mentoring, and advising in that capacity and space is because they understand where you are and they walked that path. They know how difficult that is. But also, you'll find that to get to that momentum spot, if you're really stuck and you have the wrong relationship with, in this case, he's talking about food, but it could be as a business owner, money or the sales conversation. If you have the wrong mindset, it doesn't matter how many tools we put in place or processes or have the right team. If you're stuck in the wrong mindset, you're going to get the same outcome over and over and over again. So it's really important that if you're struggling with your health, if you're struggling with your business, that you hire somebody who's an expert in that space to hold you accountable, help you see those blind spots. And Kevin and I both know that, we're experts in our equal spaces. And I'm an expert in the health space as well, but I don't teach that part of it. But man, when I have a health issue, my family quotes my own book on my health journey back to me and says, go take your own medicine. So if you're listening to this and you're frustrated, you've been on the yo-yo, you've been on the roller coaster, the merry-go-round, and you're stuck, I really highly recommend find somebody to work with because you're just going to be regretting things later down the road. Now, Kevin, I want to ask you, how have you created a culture of peak performance amongst your customers and your community?
So in creating the culture amongst the employees and customers and anybody that I come in contact with, we start off, with that first conversation. And so we set the tone there, finding out where they're starting from, their starting place, where you are here, and letting them know that no matter where you are starting from is, first of all, not where you got to stay. Secondly, we're going to help guide you from there to where you want to go. So we find out where they are, then find out where are you looking to go. And, I ask enough questions because one of the things I love to do is asking questions and then going a little step further so that they can tap to what I call rock dirt when you hit the treasure. And the treasure is sometimes you can see an emotion is elicited from that question. You get to them to going beyond the analytical thinking and telling me what I want to hear and the typical answers. But let's get down to the real nitty gritty of why do you want to change? Why are we here? You want to get out of pain, but what else do you want to do? Where else do you want to go? And let your mind go. Don't hold yourself back. Just let it go. And then they'll go to that place, and it's like a time in life, and they'll sit back and they'll start gazing and thinking about that wonderful time when they were at the beach, and they had their 2-year-old, and they were in the best shape that they felt like in their lives. They felt good. No matter what anybody else thought, they felt good about who they were at that time and all the things that go along with that. And then, they say, well, I may not be able to get there, but I want to have that feeling. And so, we start talking about that and building the roadmap to there. But the whole thing is premise is based on, again, inspiring them, encouraging them to a greater effort, creativity, or enthusiasm, and awakening that within. I want to breathe life into them where they are. So no matter where they're starting from, no matter where they're going, we want to breathe life in every step of the way too, because again, there are challenges. You start off, it sounds good. They leave here, they're fired up, ready to rock and roll, move and groove, shake and bake, jump through the window, run through a door. They're ready, but they got to go home. Or tomorrow comes and everything in life comes against them. The car breaks, all that kind of stuff. Your dog run away, all that. I still want to encourage you. I still want to speak to your spirit. I still want to speak to that greatness that's within you even at your lowest moment. If you stay with it, we'll get there. If we continue to go in a direction, as long as we don't turn around, as long as we may pause, as long as we don't stop going in the direction, we'll get there. And so that is the culture of believe. I have a little, a little saying on my wall that I put up there, and I've left up there since COVID, is believe only. And I just want you to believe only. When the doubt comes, believe only. When the frustration comes, it may come, it's going to come. Believe only. And I want to redirect them. So if they're seeing it, I want to redirect you to believe only, that you can get there, that you can make it, that you can accomplish it, that you can conquer it. I'm here with you. If nobody else believes in you, come on in here. I got you. I believe in you. We can do this.
Absolutely. I hope our listeners are feeling fired up. I'm feeling fired up today, man. Kevin Bailey in the house, the feel-good doctor. I love how you start off by getting to the real root cause of why and getting to that feeling, because we talk a lot on here about revenue. We talk about mindset, especially for business owners on sales. And if you don't have that belief in yourself, people know. You get on the sales call, they feel the desperation. They're like, ooh, this doesn't feel right. But also, if you're not tapping into and tuning into the why behind whatever you're trying to change, whether it's physically, whether it's your health, whether it's going for a marathon, whether it's hitting a huge revenue goal in your business, if you don't find the real why behind that, you have already started in the wrong place. You have to find what fires you up and lights you up. And I love that our feel-good guy here, Dr. Kevin Bailey in the house, helps you do that, because that's where the fire comes from to get you started. So, Kevin, I did want to ask you, what are some of the other ways you've optimized your customer experience to continue this peak performance throughout their customer journey?
So, other ways is, really and truly just getting them to just awakening that enthusiasm within them. And so, because some days you're going to come in, you're not feeling it. Some days you're not feeling it. I'm just here. You start all that. And so just kind of revisiting, why you're doing what you're doing, getting them to look beyond where they are right now, getting them to sometimes focus in on just themselves. And I'll tell you, so I get a lot of people that come in, and a lot of, most of the people I work with are women. And, women are very powerful, very, very creative, very, very resourceful, very, very, very got a lot of balls going on, and juggle all them bad boys and close their eyes while they're doing it. They can do it all. And so, but they carry a lot of that tension or the stress of it, because they don't just turn it off. When women love, they love hard and they keep it. And so a lot of times what goes on here manifests here, manifests in the body, manifests in your legs, manifests in your hamstrings, manifests in your glutes, manifests in the body in some shape, form, or fashion. Some organs, that's a whole other story. But anyway, but it manifests there. So I want them to come in, and when I see that, and I can feel that, and I tell them to relax, or if I'm trying to stretch them or whatever the case may be, stretch them out, and they're like, "Okay, relax your arm." It is relaxed, and I'm moving it. They're doing like this. I move it. Oh, I'm not doing. Will you just relax? Hi, take a deep breath. Take another deep breath. Okay, take a deeper breath. And it's like, okay, let's just calm everything down. We put the legs up and just tell, and then I just take them through just simple breath work, just calming down the brain waves, taking them from that high beta, mid beta, slowing their brain waves down, trying to get them in at least until an alpha state beyond analytical thinking, just calming their mind down. They're taking their breath, breathing from the belly, not from the chest, letting the diaphragm drop, expanding the lungs. And as they start doing it, their body starts to relax. Their shoulders go down. Their heart rate drops. Their eyelids are not closed, but you can see their eyes moving around, but doing like that. They've calmed their eyes down, not thinking about what they're going to do when they leave, but they're present in the moment, right where we are, because that's waiting on them. And I said that is waiting on you when you get out, but you want to be your best while you're here, so that you can be your best when you get there. And so just calming all that down, and now we can get into whatever's going on. Sometimes they'll start sharing, but sometimes they'll just recenter. Oh, I feel a lot better. I feel a lot loose, and we've just started. And so guiding them through that process and helping them to conquer their day by conquering their mind, by calming themselves down, helps them to be more effective. And so again, all facets of your life, we know that you're going to be, when you leave here, life again begins. I want you to, when you're out there, it's kind of like, I don't want to say Vegas, but I want to say a place where a place where you can come and you can just be centered on you. Because most of the time we're doing things for other people. We're taking care of this, we're taking care of that, we're putting out this fire. And then it's easy, especially with business owners, it's easy to neglect you because you're worrying about the next thing going on. But you got to take care of you because you're the golden goose that lays the golden eggs. You are the engine. If you break down, you the transmission, whatever you want to call it. If you go here, the car gone, the time trade in is over. So we got to keep you functioning at a high level, even just by calming everything down, centering yourself, getting your mindset together so that you can function effectively.
I don't know about you guys, but man, just even listening to Kevin, like his whole everything changed. You could feel the energy. I was like, oh, wait, I need to breathe a little deeper. Oh, yeah, I feel the tension in my shoulders. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, I'm definitely doing that. And especially, I agree, women, we're not able to compartmentalize the same way that men are. This is one of the differences I've noticed between men and women.
That's right.
And so we are constantly going at 1,000,000 miles per hour. And there's all this pressure from society, et cetera, of all the things we're meant to do, the good girl mentality. And I completely agree. Where our focus goes, your energy flows.
That's right.
And for most women, a lot of where our focus goes is completely subconscious. We have no idea how much stuff we're storing in our physical bodies. And for me, I know I carry a lot of stress in my shoulders and my neck. And it's really interesting. I was traveling last week to go see my best friend, and I knew I needed kind of like a recentering. I needed to be with my person, my chosen person. And I did this universal mind meditation by Kelly Howell. And that's I've trained myself. That's my reset, but it has theta wave stuff in there. Yes. And so I was in a lot of pain. I got on the plane and I was like, man, I haven't had this much pain in my neck for a long time. So I listened to it. 20 minutes in, all of my pain was gone. I was like, wait a second. Okay, this is definitely manifesting through thoughts, through things. And all I needed was that reset to get back to the theta wave state. And I was in a good place. So if you're listening, use whatever tool it takes you to get back to being present and releasing the stuff that you're not even consciously aware of, or just hire the feel good guy. He'll help you.
There you go. That's
so
right.
Kevin, we're going to get into the good stuff, the show me the money stuff. So I wanted to ask you, when have you left money on the table in your business and what did you do to fix it?
So
He's like, oh, the stress is coming back.
yeah, exactly. Creeping on up in the shoulders.
Yep.
So I've left money on the table of just probably a lot of tables, probably just from table to table to table. Um, one way. The main way is because I care about people, and I think people who are, are in, most of the time, if you when you really are working in a service and you're really caring about people changing and you get to know them and you're talking to them. And I mean, sometimes you connect, a lot of times you connect right off the rip, just off the bat, off the call, the sales call, whatever the case may be, because you're finding out what's going on with them and you're like, I can help them and I want to really see them change. So first of all, one way was not asking for the sale. And I say that, getting to the point because you're telling them a story about how you can help them, and then they start sharing their story, and wherever that story may be, why they may not be able to do it, and all the reasons why, and it could be valid reasons why. And I have gone along with their story. They've sold me on their story. Like, oh man, and I've cut prices. I've said, well, can I pay you? 2 weeks later, yeah, sure, come on, 2 weeks later, or can I get a reduced rate? Well, what? Then I'm like, what rate can you afford? And that's all I can afford. And then you end up just changing all this stuff because you just want them to do it. And after a while, I've started realizing, first of all, early in my career, not sometimes, not every now and then, every time I've done that, the person stayed less than a month. It started off with one thing, and then it went from, okay, well, can we do this rate? Okay, well, you think I can't pay you this week, but can I pay you in 2 weeks? Okay, yeah, well, we already did a reduced rate 2 weeks. All right. Then it's like, then the next thing you know, oh, well, I don't think this is going to really work for me because, I know I had to miss the last 2 times. And then I know when I did come, I don't think I can afford it. It's like I did everything. I mean, everything I could do. And so every time I've done that, it's like left money on the table instead of just being, it is, the cost is what it is. It's like if you go to Mercedes, you can't just, go and get them to give it to you. And, can I bring buy the car next week? Can I get the loan next week? Or can you knock off a 20, 40, 50,000 off that $100,000 car? And they're gonna look at me like, oh, you need to go down the street down there somewhere. You go wherever you're not here. So that's where I've left money. That's one way, and then working again that and reducing price, trying to accommodate them instead of just setting the price and then believing. Here's thing something I learned as well over the years is that your the best way I can put it, your price will attract certain people, and they'll attract what you're
Yep.
looking for. And I didn't believe that to be true in the beginning, but as I started doing it and trusting the process, I started seeing that. So that's another way of leaving money on the table. It's like, after then you set a price and it's still too low, and then you get people, a certain person who comes in and then they're not as committed, or they don't really want to do it. They didn't mean anything to you. They blow it off. Or they don't, I can't make it today because my toenail hurts or something like that. And all this stuff. I thought you were in pain. I thought you needed help. But all those kind of things that you're like, okay. And then as you start going higher, you start getting a more committed, serious person that you need to deliver on. The person that reflects you and how you feel about yourself. And so you start seeing that person starts showing up and they're serious and they're there 15 minutes early. And you got, before you, are ready for, okay, they're ready to rock and roll, move and groove, shake and bake. You're like, okay, yeah, I like that. Yeah. And not only that, and they're paying you early and they're asking you, is it time for me to pay yet? Is it time for me to pay? This is the best $6,000 I've spent. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yes.
So many nuggets there. So your vibe attracts your tribe. The way you market your stuff, the way you position your things, the confidence you exude on a sales call,
Yes.
that affects who you attract and who you sell. But also, something I teach a lot of my clients is stop chasing clients. The clients you have to chase are not your people. They're not ready. You can lead the horse to water. You can't force that darn horse to drink the water. And your pricing, you should never reduce. Doesn't matter if it's a recession, doesn't matter any of those things. You're either marketing to the wrong group if you're not getting sales, or you have a problem with the sales process, which is typically a mindset issue related to money, etc. But do not drop your price. Your pricing is your pricing. You've worked hard to get here and you want to do that. And also, your job on a sales call is to get the person on the conversation to say yes or no. That's it. You're not there to, convince them to change their whole life overnight. You're simply getting them to a yes or a no. And if you have not done that, you've not done an effective job. And Kevin was sharing that he's bought their story. Well, it's really important to overcome objections, because a lot of people who have big pain points and big struggle, they are ready, but they're scared. They're so afraid that it's not going to work for them, that they're going to get burnt like they have in the past from other programs that they've tried. And so you have to build that trust, which is you're going to be required to hop through some of their obstacles and objections. And you typically have to ask for the sale many times to get that. So make sure you're prepared to do that. And you also need to show up on those calls confident. You don't need to be desperate to get that client. And as Kevin said, man, when you change, those are the worst clients. They are the headache clients that you don't like working with. Listen to your gut. It is not worth those headache clients.
That's right.
Kevin, what is your next shiny object that you want to monetize into a new revenue stream?
Oh, goodness. So I believe the next shiny object, it would be, I believe it would be building off of podcasting, some kind of shape, form, or fashion, taking that and sharing, information that people can take, use, and build on, and getting that information, getting that out there, but also allowing people to know who I am, as a person, who I am, as a professional, and just to get that vibe. Because again, nothing is better than being that one-on-one, in person, face to face, or being able to share with the person. You got your communication, even though you got print and stuff like that, but you're only getting a small percentage. You're only getting words, and you're getting the feelings of the words, but you're getting words. But when you add the other, 80 something percent, where you're getting the body language, you're getting the tone, you're getting the energy, you're getting the feel, you're getting the personality, you're getting that person. And if you can also at the same time monetize that, but change lives at the same time and bring them on into the fold. Come on, talk to the guy. Come on in.
Yeah.
Here's a way to change your life. But come on in, join the tribe, join it. You may not join, come on, we'll go. I'm with you. But again, and the other thing going along with that is that, again, like I said earlier, there's a lot of information, a lot of stuff out there that is very negative, that is telling you what you can't do, what to be afraid of, what not to try. Ooh, that's scary. You better be careful. Watch out, girl. All that kind of stuff. When I want to tell people, why not you? Go for it. Take at it. Have at it. Be all you can be. You mentioned earlier, this old stuff, this getting older stuff. You don't have to fall into that. You don't have to just go along with that. Well, hey, I'm getting old now. Can't get off the floor like I used to. All that stuff. No, we practice getting up off the floor. Do what you can do to keep striving in your mind. The people I've seen that lived, the clients I've had that are 80s, in their 80s and 90s, and have been lived long time. They've been busy. They've been engaged. They've been putting themselves in there. They're getting involved in organizations, trying new things. They're not just being stagnant. They're not slowing down. They're speeding up. You're 86. I got an 86-year-old who does a 2-minute plank, and she didn't start off there, but she progressed there. And so, we're not slowing down. We're building up in our minds and in our thought process. She don't want to be around old people. Oh, they're too old. How they go old? Yeah, no, so she wants to be around people who are thriving. And so get yourself in that mentality, that mindset. And I want to let that voice come out over the airwaves or over the computer or whatever the case may be, so people can have somewhere to go where you can feel like you've been into a 3-day seminar every day. And you come back, hey, I'm ready to rock and roll, move and groove, shake and bake. I have heard the Feel Good Guy on Feel Good Habit TV. Absolutely.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Yeah, we need the either weekly or the daily feel good guy vibe, right?
There you
Because
go.
yeah, and people, so a lot of people when they try to monetize their podcast, they have the wrong mindset around it. It's pretty difficult when you're doing sponsorships and it's complicated. But for everybody, listen up. This is like massive, massive ninja tips. So put those earbuds in, listen carefully, take some notes. The way you monetize your podcast is you're going to go after the 4 Ps: your potential purchasers, your potential partners, your potential promoters, and your potential platforms or stages that you're going to speak on. All 4 of these things pay. And when you bring them onto your podcast as a guest, you build the relationship with them to get all of those things in your world. But from a stance of building the relationship, law of reciprocity, giving before getting, and it always works. You know, Kevin's one of my clients. He's on here because I want him to be successful. He has an amazing product and service. He's a great guy, and that's why he's here. But he's here because he's a client. I don't bring people onto my podcast that aren't in one of those 4 buckets because they're not in my community. They're not in my vibe. We're not on the same wavelength. Right. So you have to be intentional when you have that strategy for your podcast. Stop being like everybody else, trying to be the Tim Ferrisses of the world. Be you and get your small but thriving community of fandom and fan base for the people that need the service that you provide. All right, so we're going to wrap this bad boy up, Kevin. We're going to do our quick 2 questions to close this out. So what is the best 1 piece of advice you would share with others today?
Oh, wow. The best. So I think I've already shared it, but the best piece of advice I would share with you all is to just believe only. Feed the beast of believing. I think Grant Cardone talks about feeding the beast, but feed the believing beast. Feed that one so that while you're doing that simultaneously, you're starving all the doubts, you're starving the fears, you're starving all that. Believe only. Feed that believe beast. Just believe only.
I love that. Believe only. And then my last question for you: what is the legacy you wish to leave behind?
So the legacy I wish to leave behind is I want to be known as somebody who not only help people, but also live the life that I'm helping people with. They have the integrity to say, I'm not asking you to do anything that I'm not trying to do myself, that I'm not striving for. I'm not perfect. But each time I try to push myself to be better, to be greater, to continue to learn, to continue to grow, to continue to excel. And this, I wanted to say, Kevin Bailey, the feel good guy, helped people to actually feel good. He got his energy off of other people feeling good, other people being happy, other people believing themselves, other people smiling. He loved that, and he lived his life helping others to accomplish the same.
I love it. And you are definitely walking that path. I love it. Feeling the vibe. So if you guys love this interview, if you want to be in Kevin's world, you want to hear about that future podcast TV show he's putting together, I have all the ways you can follow Kevin. His Instagram, his Facebook, and his email. And we're working on his website. So those will be in the show notes in case you want to reach out to Kevin. I highly recommend that you do, especially if you have any pain or you just want to boost your energy so you can be even better in your business today. With that, thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a blast. I enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll be able to do it again.
Of course. All right. And for our listeners, we'll see you on the next episode of Inspiration Contagion. Thank you for joining the show today. I hope you were inspired. More importantly, I hope you take action. If the show inspired you, I ask that you subscribe and share it with your network. Let's spread inspiration together today.